Hello. Today we have gathered over 20 researchers and witnesses to bring you the very best evidence of the elusive creature known as Bigfoot. Our first set of photos will show you some of the evidence left behind, none of which have been proven fake or have been doctored in any way. I'm Ross. Welcome to the Evidence Files.
Segment 1. Stick structures. Bigfoot stick structures are unusual stick formations thought to have been made by Bigfoot. They can range from small formations to large, elaborate shelter-type structures. Most are found deep in the forest. The larger teepee-type structures are considered to be shelter. Whether they be permanent shelter or just temporary, no researchers have really been able to determine. These stick formations are open to interpretation, but many researchers have looked at ancient Native American symbols and writings in an effort to decode these stick structures, and in some cases they have been somewhat successful. These stick formations have been found virtually all over the world, leading us to believe that this is a common trait amongst Sasquatch and Bigfoot, no matter what area they're in. Some theories about stick formations are that they are some type of marker system for Sasquatch. Others think it is an attempt to communicate with researchers, or it could be a combination of both. With similar formations being found all over the world, it is safe to assume that this is a common trait amongst all Bigfoot and Sasquatch. More research is needed. I have potentially found something, and now this would be the little area right before it crossed the road. But now that's an X. Whether somebody, a human, put it there or Bigfoot, I don't know. But it did make an X, and it's not fell over trees. It's been, and you can see it's been placed in the fork there. The ground's real hard and rocky, so there's probably not any track, but I'm gonna look around. So pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know how fresh it is or whatever, but it's definitely been placed in there. It ain't. It's definitely, it ain't just fell in there naturally. So I'm gonna poke around a little bit, see what I can find. Well, I'm a pretty big man, and that's probably 7 foot high. Now that there, looking at the color of that's about a week old. And right here's the top. Well, if it was a hunter, now the way that was laid, well, that was up against that tree anyways. Because there's the top of it, and look here. Here's tore off. Broke off. It went right through here, buddy. Hey, we may find a track. Here, look. Ain't no way winds tore it right there off.
Oh no, we had a big wind off.
This ain't no way. There may be a track through here.
Nice.
Now, see, that shows me that he's still in here. Not only does Bigfoot make stick formations, but it has long been thought that Bigfoot creates what is called rock stacks. Here's a few examples of this interesting behavior. The tracks and castings presented in this program is just a very small sample compared to the growing number of tracks and castings being found and made. The sizes of tracks being found can range from small childlike tracks to very large adult tracks. It seems the most common size of tracks found fall within the 12 to 16 inches in length range, but some tracks have been found that were over 20 inches in length. During the making of this program, we spoke to Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who is a leader in the study of Bigfoot tracks and castings. We asked him what was the largest Bigfoot track that he had studied and thought was credible. He told us the largest track that he had studied was a 19-inch track from Flint River, Florida. Now, some people always seem to dismiss Bigfoot tracks as being fakes and not accept them as evidence. Sometimes fake tracks are made using a wooden cutout. These are normally easy to spot and are quickly dismissed by experienced researchers. The location that tracks are found in can also play an important part in determining the chances of tracks being real or faked. Tracks that are found in remote locations have a greater chance of being real than those found in high traffic areas. Sighting reports that are accompanied by tracks provide two good sources of evidence: witness testimony and physical evidence in the form of footprints. Hello, I'm Tom Marcum, and before we finish this segment up, I want to share with you a couple castings. This casting was made in August of 2013 in Kentucky. It's 13 inches long and 7 inches wide. I personally cast this track. It was one of many that was found in a track line. This next track is from Myrtle Creek, Oregon. It was cast by Bobby and Corinna Long. What's unusual about this track is it only has 4 toes. This is just some overlapping, but as you can see, it only has 4 toes. And it was taken in July of 2013. In our next segment, we're going to listen to some possible Bigfoot sounds. There have been numerous recordings of possible Bigfoot sounds. We would like to play some of them for you now. Segment 3, Bigfoot Sounds. Bigfoot Sounds. There have been numerous recordings made of strange howls and even some of possible Bigfoot speech. Sometimes it takes months of trial and error to successfully record Bigfoot sounds. This next clip was recorded after a rash of Bigfoot sightings near Newmarket, New Hampshire. The sightings occurred around the same residential home, leading to the recording. The recording was made by Jason. Now let's turn back to the state of Ohio, where for the last 5 years Larry Surface has been recording unusual sounds coming from the forest. We've already played a couple recordings from Mr. Surface, but these next clips are very compelling. It has long been believed among researchers that howls are used for long-distance communication among Bigfoot, possibly as a location system. On another occasion, Mr. Surface was able to record what sounds like speech between two possible Bigfoots. Was this a question and a reply? It is also thought that Bigfoot communicates by using tree knocks. It is thought that tree knocks could be a location tactic or maybe a warning system used by Bigfoot. Tree knocks are made by banging a tree limb against a standing tree or log. This is used by researchers in an effort to get a reply knock. Recently, researcher Billy Mills has some success employing this tactic.
This totally has my curiosity up. Today's a good day. Oh shit. Damn, what was that? praying that I'm getting this on film. This is really messed up. Oh, man. I can hear movement coming from down that way, through the trees. There we go. That was 4. Wasn't quite 7, so. I'm not feeling as easy as I was before. What the hell's going on, but holy crap. Yeah, 3 of them down there. Wow. Holy shit, I just heard a howl up that way. Almost like a deep moaning howl. Come on, keep talking. Keep going. Okay, well, when I had the camera off, I started trying a couple of whoops. And I was getting knocking responses from the whoops. So I'll try it again. Whoop! Whoop! Whoop!
At this point, the batteries died in Billy's video recorder. The activity continued a little while longer, but then stopped. These extraordinary examples of Bigfoot sounds are just a small sample in the growing number of recordings being made. Once you rule out known animal sounds and rule out human voice range levels, you are left with very good evidence that Bigfoot is out there.
Hello, I'm Jason and I'll be your host of this segment. So far we've shown evidence that Bigfoot is living in the forest, and in this segment we're going to show you what may be actual photos of the creature itself. A criticism of possible Bigfoot photos is that they always appear blurry or out of focus, but you must take into consideration that most of these photos were taken from a long distance, or the creature was hiding or fleeing for cover. So here are some of the best possible Bigfoot photos captured by various researchers.
Segment 4. Bigfoot Photos. Bigfoot Photos. There have been numerous photographs taken of possible Bigfoot. Oftentimes they are met with criticism because they are blurry or out of focus. But when accompanied with other evidence, such as witness testimony or tracks, they must be considered. Our first set of photos comes from Arla Williams. Arla has been interacting with a group of Bigfoot for many years now. Arla calls this young Bigfoot Indigo. She has watched him grow to over 6 feet tall. Arla calls this Bigfoot Blue and prefers the term Forest People. During a Bigfoot sighting in 2012 in New Hampshire, Jason Morris was able to snap a long-distance photo of the possible creature. By enhancing the photo, we were able to bring out more detail. While Jason was out walking his dog, he noticed the dog was acting strangely. The dog was frozen and trembling, just staring out over the marsh. As Jason looked over the marsh, he noticed some slight movement. He could make out a figure in the brush, so he quickly took out his cell phone and zoomed in as far as it would go and took a picture. Jason watched the figure for about 30 seconds, and then all at once it stood up. Jason was in shock, and the creature walked out of view in about 3 or 4 seconds. Jason estimated the height of the creature to be around 8 foot tall. While researching the sighting area, tracks and broken limbs were found, and in the months to come, more sightings took place. This next photo was taken in Kentucky in 2010. While out doing Bigfoot research, researcher Dax Rushlow took this photograph of a possible Bigfoot near some power lines. These next compelling photos come from Oregon. These photos come from Bigfoot researchers Bobby and Corinna Long. While out doing field research, this photo of a large, dark figure standing next to a tree was taken. Later, an after photo was taken for comparison. We have overlaid the two photos and can estimate the height of the dark figure to be in excess of 8 foot. During a night investigation, this unusual eye shine was seen and photographed by Bobby Long. On another occasion, this long-distance photo was taken of a possible Bigfoot. Our next photos from Oregon come from researcher Mark Hubbard. While out doing research, Mark took this photo of a possible Bigfoot. We have enhanced the photo to bring out more details. While running the photograph through various effects, details of eyes, nose, mouth, and the ear become visible. Some people wanted to criticize the photo and say it was nothing more than a tree stump. But as you can see from this after photo, there is no tree stump in this area. But there is clearly a human-shaped figure in the original photo. This next photo comes from Ohio. It was taken by longtime researcher These next photos are frame captures from a video recorded by Albert. They show a deer and at least one Bigfoot. It was thought the Bigfoot was stalking the deer. Albert calls this Bigfoot ginger because of its color. The Bigfoot froze and remained motionless while Albert was filming. This Bigfoot appears to have a rock in its hand. Was the Bigfoot using a rock to hunt the deer? Is it using it as a weapon to bring down a food source? There are many reports of Bigfoot throwing rocks at researchers, everything from small pebbles to large basketball-sized rocks. This is a truly amazing video. There have long been stories of Bigfoot hunting and killing deer for food. This video could provide evidence that those stories are true. Here's another video that Albert shot of a Bigfoot he calls Fred.
When presenting evidence or talking about Bigfoot, there seems to be some reoccurring questions asked, one of which is, where are all the Bigfoot bones? It's safe to assume that any remains of a dead animal or Bigfoot that are out in the woods are scattered around by predators or scavengers. Some of these will even eat the bones, but much of the remains will simply rot away. There are some reports of unknown bones being found. In this next segment, we talked to historian Tim Cornett about a case where some unusual bones were found.
Final segment, Bigfoot bones. Bigfoot bones. There are often questions from skeptics about Bigfoot bones. They want to know why none have never been found. But there are some reports of bones being found. We talked to author and historian Tim Cornett about such a case. We're here with author and historian Tim Cornett. And Tim, I understand you have an interesting story about some unusual bones being found.
Well, yes, that's correct, Thomas. Several years ago, Dr. James S. Golden, who was a prominent physician in Pineville and on staff at the Pineville Community Hospital at the time, had a gentleman bring him some bones that he had discovered. And the way they were discovered, the man was out hunting. I don't know if he was squirrel hunting or what, but it was just about daybreak that he was coming along the ridge of Pine Mountain just across from Happy Mark at the junction of 119 and US 25E. He was on that mountain there. And he sat down under a tree to rest on what he thought was a pile of brush, and when the sun came up full, he discovered he was sitting on a pile of bones. So he took them to Dr. Golden to have them examined, and Dr. Golden was able to assemble 4 skeletons, 2 male and 2 female.
Do you know how long it took him to assemble these skeletons, roughly?
Not really. He didn't say how long. He just said it. Well, for the way he told the story, it was just a matter of a few days, because he had some volunteers to go back out to see if they could find the skulls a few days after the bones were brought to him, because the gentleman didn't have the skulls. All he had were the femurs and the tibia and fibia and the ribs, and enough to like I said, assemble 4 skeletons out of them, but minus the skulls. And like I said, Dr. Golden sent some people back out to look for the skulls, because that would help to identify species and race and so forth more. And they were never able to find them. Their theory was that the skulls, being round, had rolled on down the mountainside at some time and into the river and had been carried off. They figured the bones may have been buried a little higher up on the mountain and washed out during the rain and lodged against that tree, is why they were exposed. But Golden said the femurs were 2 to 2.5 times the diameter of a modern man's femur. They were shorter. All the leg bones were shorter. The bones in general indicated a short, stocky race of people. And Dr. Golden told me that, judging by the size of the femurs and the other bones, they would weigh between 200 and 250 pounds and probably stood less than 5 feet tall, 4.5 to 5 feet. So they were just a short, stocky people. He sent the bones to the Smithsonian Institution, and I tried several times over the past few years to locate them at the Smithsonian. They show a record, from the phone calls I've made, they show a record of Dr. Golden sending the bones to them, or bones in general, and they don't have them together. Apparently they're scattered throughout a collection of bones, so they're not still assembled as skeletons or together as skeletons. So I was hoping to get photographs of them, but we couldn't locate them for sure.
What year was this basically that this was found?
It would have been somewhere between 59 and 61, somewhere around in there.
You said they went back and searched the area for other bones, actually for the skulls. Was there ever any other bones found in that area
No.
over
no,
the years? Or
No,
anything?
no, not that I'm aware
Not
of.
that you're aware of.
No, and of course that's a pretty steep mountainside, and it's difficult to climb. So there's not been a lot of people up and down through there, other than knows that Dr. Golden sent help to.
Also, I don't know if you are aware, but there are other reports of bones being found, full skeletons, and being sent to the Smithsonian and then disappearing, no record of them. I would like to get your opinion maybe on that type thing and see what you have to say about
Well,
that.
you know, my thinking is that when they receive those like that, they do like the anthropology department at UT or UK. They'll have a collection of femurs. They'll have a collection of arm bones. They'll have a collection of ribs, and they spread them out among those rather than keeping them together. I mean, that's the only reason I can see that they would not keep them together.
It kind of seems odd to me that if you had a full skeleton, I mean, complete with skull and everything, to bust it up.
Right. Well, I
seems
would
a little
assume I would assume they would keep that together, but where these were not, I said he was able to assemble complete. They weren't entirely complete. There were, a rib missing here and there, a finger bone missing, but enough that he could tell that he had four bodies involved.
But it is good that they do have a actual record of those being sent in.
Yes.
I know in some instances, it just totally disappears. There's no paper trail. It's just like it never existed.
That's true.
And that's kind of odd.
Well, on a slightly different skeletal subject, I mean the way things disappear, there was a skeleton found in what we used to refer to as the burial mound, the Indian mound here on Pine Street, which is where Bell Whitley, in that general area where Bell Whitley sits. There was a house built up on a mound, and from what I understand, the doctor that lived there back in the 1920s was doing some work around the foundation and discovered a skeleton. And he had it articulated and kept it in his office. And he gave it to Dr. Golden later. And I never thought to ask Dr. Golden about it while he was still living, and I will later talk to his widow, and she didn't have a clue as to what had ever happened to it. How he disposed of it, or where it just disappeared. I'm assuming it was the Civil War soldier, Sergeant Pfeiffer, I believe is his name, whose tombstone they found under that house when they raised it and excavated the mound in the 60s when they built the building supply down there. But where he is now, we don't know.
It's kind of like the other bones that are gone.
They're gone.
Could these still missing or scattered around bones have been from Bigfoot? We may never know. There are other reports of bones being found and of giants being unearthed. The evidence of giants is deeply embedded in our culture and history. Almost everyone has heard of the story of David and Goliath. It's the biblical telling of a young David facing Goliath, the champion of the Philistine army. Goliath was an extremely large man, standing roughly 10 foot tall, but fell to the hands of a young shepherd boy named David. David defeated a giant with nothing more than his trusted sling and his belief in God.
Look at the sky, Goliath! The vultures augur ill for thee!
According to 2 Samuel chapter 21, in the King James Version of the Bible, Goliath possibly had 4 brothers and a father who were also giants. There seems to be very little public fossil records of these giants, but there is other mounting evidence to support the stories. Everything from ancient Native American cave art to numerous newspaper articles. Reports of giant bones being found and unearthed are plentiful. These newspaper articles and headlines come from all over the United States and the rest of the world. What becomes odd about these found bones is that after the initial report, they seem to have vanished and nothing more is said about them. Is there some reason for this? Could there be a cover-up? Could it be that these giants are really what we are now calling Bigfoot and Sasquatch? Or could they be some type of descendant of the giants?
house was torn down, and they
This next segment, we talked to historian Tim.
3,
Take 17.
1. Action.
When presenting evidence or talking about Bigfoot, there seems to be some
Before we finish up this section on 3, 2, 1, click.
1, 2, 3. Action.
thought it was supposed to be 3, 2, 1.
Oops.
I can't read that. What?